Welcome to Chris and Carlette Live, a podcast about life, love, and overcoming obstacles. Each week, we discuss the good, the bad, and the indifferent of life's interruptions. Now, here's your host, Chris and Carlette.
Keep believing, don't go stressing, keep it moving. God, we're resting, here to help you, here to bless you. With God on our side, CNC Life.
What up, y'all? Let me turn this down. Anybody at the door? Did I hear? I thought I heard. Wait a minute. You want to go grab that? I think that might be somebody at the door. All right, go. Hold on. Let me let him in. Go ahead, baby. Hold on, y'all. I think that might be none other than Coach Ricky Prichett. He's on the show tonight. It's a special edition of the Chris and Carlette Live show. I was surprised he got here on time. Yes, on time. Coach Ricky Prichett is here on time, like 9:07 on time. And the show started at 9 o'clock. So we want to welcome everybody to the Chris and Carlette Live show, where none other than my wife and I host this lovely podcast. And in the background, you may hear a dog barking. That's our dog, Brady. Let me go tell my son to put him up. But let me go to Spawn right quick and tell the people that we are live. What? Look at here. This is Coach Ricky Prichett.
You already on?
I'm already on, Doc. I was waiting for you. I didn't know if you was gonna be here like at 9:30. It looked like you're sweating.
Hey, I ran.
Yeah, the mic is right here, sir.
Right on.
Yo, he had a hard practice today with these kids. Tell me about it every day.
You know how I go.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you making the sacrifice for coming out and being on our little podcast.
Hey, man, you asked me to join. I've been making the promise for a minute.
Yeah, for a minute.
I got to keep my word.
For a minute. All right. We're just trying to get some more viewers on. Let's see. Let me put it in Spawn that we are live, so the coaches and stuff. Hold on 1 second. Are live. Catch us. The Chris and hold on, y'all. And we gotta let these parents know. So yeah, we today we have Coach Ricky Prichett here, and let me show you a clip of Coach Prichett in action.
Everybody look at it. Hey, it was a dog fight, right? Yes, sir. Some of us made mistakes, right? Yes, some of us had a hell of a game, right? Hey, the thing about fighting, man, when you step in there, you ain't gonna always dodge every punch, you understand me? Sometimes you're gonna take a clean on your chin, right? It's about how you persevere, you understand me? Yes, sir. We talked about it all season, it's about how you persevere. You're gonna face adversity, but it's about how you persevere. If you messed up, cool. You learn how to win today, right? Yes, sir. Hey, if you got knocked out, you got pancake, cool. So we understood how to fight today, right? Yes, sir. Hey, man, take what we learned from today, come back ready to do it again, you understand me? Yes, sir. Ain't successful ever been easy. So, hey, today was today. We're gonna cool, we're gonna chill out, we're gonna enjoy some other games, we're gonna come back and we're gonna lock back in, you understand me? Yes, sir. Give yourself a round of applause, man. Give yourself a round of applause, you understand?
Man, tell us about that.
I can tell you, man. Folks look at Douglas County football, Douglasville football, from a youth athletic perspective, and it's like, all right, Douglasville is just a little old Pop Warner team. They're a little bitty country team. We always pride ourselves on we coach what we get. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of kids that never get out of Douglas County, never get out of Douglas Carroll Paul, and never get out of the city of Atlanta. So anytime we get a chance to take these kids out of town and play top talent, it's bigger than football. Mm-hmm. You know, it's getting these boys who've never seen palm trees and sandy beaches and the state of Florida, or seeing other teams from other states and being like, all right, I can do that. I want to do that. And that's what that moment was for us. You know, we came in at the number 10 seed at the Nationals last year. Nobody believed we could compete but us. And all season we've been preaching. We undersized. We got a bunch of first-year kids. We got a bunch of kids that have never played before, understand the game. And for all season we've been teaching them, believe in yourself. You know, take pride in the name that you wear on your back. Believe that you can do things. Because that's life. You know, life is going to give you challenges. Life is going to give you hills and valleys that you gotta persevere through. And you know, that first win at UTN last year was kind of our stepping stone. Like, all right, we really can do this. And I think that's what the feedback the kids took from it. They went out, they had fun, and they competed against a top team out of Alabama. So that's what that moment was for us.
Most definitely. I man. Ever since I met you last year, this is actually this is Evan's third year, but he set out of COVID and all that. But anyway, this is his second year back. But during his first year with, you know, under the tutelage of you and Coach Jones, man, I was so impressed with you as far as when you talk. It's like you drop these nuggets that are like you could just take them and put them on TikTok, you know. So it's just like, man, this dude, you know, he really drops a lot of good nuggets and a lot of good advice for our children. What inspired you to become a youth football coach, and how long have you get started with it? How did you get started with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, twofold. So I've been coaching in some capacity for about 20 years now. What got me started is, so I come from a family of coaches. So the original Coach Prichett, Augustus Prichett, that's my granddaddy. He's been coaching in the city of Atlanta 50 years now. Track football, boxing, the whole nine. So everybody in the family came through some level of sports. But also, you know, being from Atlanta, I came up through the Coach Rambo phase. And if you did anything in athletics in the city of Atlanta, you played for Coach Rambo. And, you know, even as I matured, you know, I had Coach Leopold and so forth, Coach Frazier. What was my defensive coordinator at Douglas High in Atlanta. You know, all throughout my life, coaches helped me and my family, you know, kind of stay out of the bad side of life. You know, it was, you know, we grew up in the Mosley Park community. Coaches was the ones coming to pick us up on the back of the truck to make sure we got to practice. You know, if my mama needed anything, my aunt needed anything, my cousins needed anything, you know, coaches was there for us. You know, so all through life, I'm like, all right, you know, they doing stuff for us, and I don't know why. I don't understand why. And as I got older, I understood somebody did it for them. You know, so, you know, what even brought me over to Douglasville was like, all right, you know, it's everybody wants to go to these powerhouse teams, powerhouse programs and so forth. And I came over to the Tiger Cubs at 7 years, and I'm like, all right, it's a bunch of – we had 3 what you would consider elite kids out of 30. And we went undefeated. And it's because, you know, we was able to get a bunch of kids to really believe in themselves. And that's really like what draws me to coaching. I have fun with it because I always prefer the underdog. And that's just in life. I always flock to I've always been a bigger guy. I was a bigger kid. So, you know, I didn't have to deal with certain things that, you know, most kids that deal with bullying and so forth deal with in life. And that's what kind of really flocked with me to coaching. Even when I coached at the high school level, you know, I was over at Alexander High School. We had an undersized team. We were one of the smallest teams in the state, and we went to the Elite Eight that year with a team that nobody thought could even compete. You know, and it's always been the same. Like I tell people, when you get into coaching, you get that itch, and especially if you're doing coaching for the right reason, to really build character, to build contributing citizens to the community, to help other young coaches understand the purpose of coaching. So that's really what got it into me. You know, I'm a transformational leader by nature and professionally. So, you know, the coaching piece scratches that itch for me because I get to see these kids grow up and become young men and contributing fathers and college students and professionals, you know. And I tell my kids all the time, I got kids that's in the pros now. I got kids that's out in the world being contributing factors to society. And that's what it's all about, because now they calling you, hey, coach, you know, now I got kids and so forth. And that's really what continues to bring me back to it. And, like, even now, my wife coaches. You know, my cousin coaches, my aunt played football, she coaches, like everybody. This family is really a family built on coaching, and we continue to believe in pouring back into the community, pouring back into the kids, because we really understand athletics and coaching in some capacity really saves our youth, because we don't have the communities like we used to, where it was community policing, community raising the kid. So athletics, you know, whether it's cheerleading, however, coaches really have start filling that void of the old school community. So that's what continues to bring me back to it.
Did you play?
I did. I played at all levels.
Really?
From little league to high school to college.
Wow. What position did you play?
Defensive end, defensive tackle, and linebacker.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to send this link out. What is your coaching philosophy when it comes to working with young athletes?
It's twofold. Disregard anything you ever thought about what you can do, and just give it 100% in everything you do. Don't ever try to be the next kid. Be the better version of yourself. If you give me the best version of yourself through scheming, through developing, through coaching, the next man next to you is also going to give you 100% the best version of himself. My philosophy is do your job at all aspects. Do your job. Take care of your responsibilities. Do your job. Believe in yourself. The biggest component, like we teach the kids, is never let somebody believe that they are better than you. If you know that you're leaving it all out there, you're giving it all every rep, every play, every down, and every distance, then you can walk away, win, lose, or draw, understanding that that was the best version of yourself. And you're going to come back and figure out how to continue to make that better. So my philosophy is to continue to be the best version of yourself. I'll take 22 first-year kids and make a damn good team before I take 2 All-Americans and lose out.
Wow, that's powerful. I have a photo. I want you to explain this photo to people.
Please be PG.
It's safe. It's PG. Can you see that?
Yep.
You remember that?
Is that my shoulder bag?
No. Let me move this over. You remember that photo?
You caught me when I was tasting the grass, but I'm sure you're going to insinuate that I was throwing up the Kappa sign.
No. That's not it.
Okay,
that's not it. Let's go back. So this was last year on Douglas County High School football field.
On the backfield.
On the backfield.
Okay.
You had something in your hand.
Oh, that was my introduction to my boy John. John, if anybody met him, I call him John Wick. This is a kid that he would text me in the middle of school, and I got to fuss at him, asking why he texted me at school. But this is a kid that contacts me directly. He's been a gem. You know, he takes to my coaching style. He takes to the entire coaching staff's coaching style. Hard-headed, but I love him to life. In that picture, John had just got into play. He had a wiggly tooth, went out there, made a big play. The tooth came out. John ran to the sideline to give me the tooth, and then ran back in to go finish practicing. So I actually may even still have a tooth.
Oh, really? Wow. Wait, hold on. I forgot. I need to be Clark Kent for a minute. Do you mind? Okay. Hold on. I forgot about that. All right.
That's what we doing? just make sure the camera get it in now. Just so we clear. just make sure the camera get it in.
It looked like you got burned or something.
Hey.
Look like,
lotion on
did you get burnt?
In the crib, it take a manly man to get branded now.
I think your wife is watching. Hey, she's watching. If you got any comments, make sure that you put it in the chat so we can share it with Coach Prichett. We fixed him some dinner. Tiffany, I know you're watching, so we made sure he was fed this afternoon.
He took care of me, baby.
Yeah, we for coming over and
this
sacrifice.
Beautiful wife, he don't really take care of me.
Hey, I got some. I got that pen in the refrigerator.
Keep on now.
Hey, maybe you need a half of that sandwich.
Hey,
yeah, I take some to dream, baby. All right. This brings me. Okay, let's ask this question: how do you keep kids motivated and engaged, and especially during tough times?
So I can tell you, it's twofold. As a coach, you can't just be a coach during practice times.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be involved and engaged during practice days, during the season. You know, it's kids have to believe in you the same way you believe in them. Kids have to know you believe in them. You know, and a lot of these kids, especially a good group of these kids, have been with me since, you know, for the longest. And they'll tell you, their mamas will tell you, if, you know, I'll get to the point where, you know, I check on school. They know I'm going to check on school. I check on grades. They know I'm checking on grades. I check on behaviors. And I think that's because there's an accountability factor that as a coach, there's a fatherly figure as a coach, because a bunch of these kids, I don't want to say they don't have daddies, but they don't have father figures in their lives. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's some of these kids come to us as trauma kids, and they have to really earn the trust with you. Mm-hmm. And as a coach, the biggest thing, when a kid trusts you, that kid is at his most vulnerable state with you. Mm-hmm. And when a kid is vulnerable for you, he'll do whatever you need him to do. Mm-hmm. But you also have to be vulnerable as an adult with the kid. And, you know, I pride myself on touching a lot of lives. And, you know, we live by 3 principles. And I tell the kids, even new parents that come into our program, I don't take every kid, I don't take every parent. Mm-hmm. Every kid, every parent ain't for my program. Mm-hmm. And that's by design, because when we say, you know, we finish every practice with take care of home, take care of school, take care of community. Because those are the 3 pillars to life that you have to master now before going into adulthood. You can't be an impactful parent if you don't know how to take care of home, take care of school, and be a factor in the community. Mm-hmm. You can't be a contributing citizen if you don't know how to do so. So because I purposely try to make sure that I'm engaged with these kids actively in some capacity to know something about every kid on the team, you know, both team blue, team gold, you know, they understand that. So it becomes a thing of joy when we're in each other's presence. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important factor about keeping a kid engaged, because you never know what these kids go through. Some of these kids are in abusive homes. Some of these kids don't have friends at school. Some of these kids are bullied at school. And the only relief they do have is when they come to practice, or when they're able to call the coach and be like, hey, guess what I did? Mm-hmm. You know, in some of their lives, they can do no right. They can go to school and can never do right. But when the coach calls, say, how was school? Well, what you working on? Are you studying this? All right, let's talk about it. You become that therapeutic relief for them, because you're that person that gets them. And that's one thing I love about our staff, because everybody's immersed about understanding and being engaged with the kid. And that's the first factor. If you truly, genuinely lock in with the kid, then the kid would do anything for you. Mm-hmm. As you see, we're not a big team as far as the skill guys. And these kids will go hit anybody and anything, you know, for us. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you 22 seconds to grab you something to eat if you want to, and I'm gonna play this clip right quick. So,
I want you to look if you see a guy right on the A. You are at corner. I see they trying to come. All right. You at corner.
Push that shit in and close that seat gap.
Hey.
Anybody
hey,
else
let's
want
fly
to
around.
You hear me? Who else need water?
What?
Anybody good on water?
One thing I tell you, 2 things for certain. Y'all kids come to me listening to Lil Nardy and little Yo-Yo and Lil Bippity Bop and all that cussing they do. I tell you, before you join the program, I'm gonna talk to your kid as a young man. I expect them to respond to me as a young man. Mm-hmm. We don't hide life from the kids. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, they can walk outside the house and see reality. Mm-hmm. So we give them reality in a respectful, direct form.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of parents, what role do parents play in the youth athletic department as far as the athlete development, and how can they best support their kids?
So it's twofold, especially at the park ball level. Mm-hmm. Parents that are not 100% committed to the development of their kids set their kids up for failure year over year. And what I mean by that is football starts before August.
Mm-hmm.
The development piece, the coaching piece, the skill set piece all starts before spring ball. Mm-hmm. It's what you do in the offseason to prepare. Now, when you're a first-year kid, you have to, one, find a coach that you can buy into, find a program that you can buy into, and then truly buy into it. Meaning, if the coach say, hey, they got to run hills for 2 hours, then that's what they do. Mm-hmm. If the coach say, hey, we got to put stresses on their body before we get water breaks, that's what they got to do, because some kids have to go through a breaking period to be rebuilt and become the athlete they need. But it goes deeper than just the practice piece. Like when we say, hey, the kid needs to be doing push-ups, sit-ups, resistant bands, something when they're at home outside of playing on the PlayStation all day, eating snacks, eating all the wrong stuff, staying up late. It is the stuff the involvement of the parent has to be consistent now, because we're not just saying, hey, this is how you go prepare to be an athlete. The same things transition. This is how you go when you go to college and you're on your own. You're used to being structured. When you become an adult, you have to be structured. So we continue. We urge parents to get involved. Meaning, hey, if we do fundraisers, get involved, because if you're bought in and your kids see you wearing a shirt with the name on it, then your grandmama and auntie and everybody else are going to want to get involved. And when the kids look up in the stand and they got 50, 60 parents up there cheering on them, that's a mood builder and a pride builder for those kids. Parents have to be involved. It's just not a drop-off daycare, hey, I'm going to leave my son out there. Because if the kid goes out there and the only engagement they get is the 2 hours they get at practice, then they look up and they say, hey, mommy, you saw my touchdown? Or hey, daddy, did you see my tackle? And you look dumbfounded, and you just lost that kid. Now we have to try to rebuild a kid on the next practice. So parents have to be involved, and they have to be involved inside and outside of the football season, especially in the off season. And it's not about if your kid is going to play football at the next level or so forth. It's about the consistency and the structure to say, hey, you got to continue to do something to sharpen your skill. Iron sharpen iron. Even when you're out of school for the summer, you tell the kids to read or study something. It's the same thing that correlates to sports. You have to do something on a regular basis to strengthen your skills, because somebody else in the world is doing exactly that. And when you go to college, there's only so many scholarships you can get. When you graduate, there's only so many open positions you can apply for. So parents have to be involved now to instill those characteristics later in life.
So how do you balance competitiveness with like having fun on the field?
So you got to figure out what drives the kid. You know, I got some kids that they competitiveness to them is how many pancakes they can get. I got some kids that, hey, how hard they can hit you, or who can get the most interceptions, or who can get the most tackles for loss, or who can get the most yards. You got to figure out, you know, what drives them. I got some kids that on the team that don't really care about football, but these are their friends. So, all right, well, I'm going to make you compete with your friend. Hey, he won that battle. How many battles you won? You got to figure out what drives them, what motivates them, and then play to that. Because everything that motivates a kid is different. But you got 5 different linemen with 5 different motivations. You can play to that and structure your scheme around what motivates them to get them to compete in a unified form.
My wife just texted me and told me to let you have another bite of your food. So let me play this clip.
Hey, eyes on me. Eyes on me. Hey, eyes on me. Hey. They line up. I ain't never seen them run special team, so I don't know if they're going to kick it. Hey, so we got the play as though they're going to run a play, all right? Yeah, so defense line, foul the ball. Foul the ball. Look, Greg, watch for that tight end to come up, all right? Watch for that tight end to come up. Hey, if you at corner, watch for your man to come off the ball, all right? Hey, D-line, I want the ball back here, all right? Hey, Deuce, please, you catch it. Let's take the to the house, all right? Come on, toughen up. Let's go.
All right. I'm going to spell a word, and I want you to pronounce it, okay?
Okay. Hopefully it's not a cuss word.
Corner.
Corner. What's the problem here?
Say it again. What is it?
It's a corner. I got cornerbacks.
You got cornerbacks.
Cornerbacks.
Corner or corner?
See? you go to PWI, it's cornerback. Out here in Douglasville, we got cornerbacks.
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 We got that's a new position, y'all. Cornerbacks.
I got some good ones too.
So speaking of challenges with word pronunciation, what are some of the challenges that you've had with just coaching in general, and how have you overcame it?
The biggest challenge is the kids' capability to understand a complex game plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's twofold. So it's the kids' ability to have the bandwidth to understand a complex game plan, but then it's also the parental aspect, the parent understanding where their kid really is athletically, and how that aligns with playing time, scheming, which situations we put the kids in, and so forth. I've always been big on the fact that I won't put a kid in a situation to where he will be too afraid to protect himself when he gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And in those circumstances, against certain teams, certain situations, the kid may not play. Some people will say that's coaching, but like I said, I've been doing this over 2 decades. It's not coaching when you understand what the kid can possibly have. If the kid freezes up and sees up out there, that kid becomes a target now. But when it comes to a bandwidth, so I can tell you when I first came over to the program, the thing was like, hey, Coach P, you think it's too complicated that you're trying to teach 7-year-olds a high school defense. Not understanding the fact that, hey, if we start when they're 7, when they get 9, 10, and 11, it's not as complex. When they get to middle school, they're prepared for it, because middle school and high school, they're not lining you up. When you get to that level, it's hand signals, it's signs, and so forth. So why not get mental reps? A lot of the stuff these kids do in school and so forth is repetitious to be prepared for middle school, be prepared for high school. So really trying to figure out and say, I'm not a teacher by heart.
Mm-hmm.
So really trying to figure out how to teach 30 kids a middle school, high school system at 6, 7, 8, and beyond was probably the biggest challenge, on top of getting parents to understand, like, hey, this is not a weight-based league. This is not a playtime-based league. So we're not required to not run the bigger kids or give you 8 plays on, 8 plays off like some of the leagues are. It's a competitive league, so trying to have newer parents understand, like, hey, your kid has to earn the right to get the reps.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is your kid have to be at practice.
Mm-hmm.
Your kid don't get to just play and start because the part president or you've been around the part long. The kids have to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
And by keeping consistent with that piece, and some parents like it, some parents don't, but keeping consistent with that piece has allowed these kids to understand that nothing in life will ever be given to you. At some point, mommy and daddy going to go away. You're going to have to earn everything you get in life. We started instilling that in these boys at 7, and it was hard. It was hard for some kids. It was hard for some parents. But it's been probably the biggest component of our success, because you talk about, what makes the kids competitive. They want to get on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Those that really have aspirations of getting there, they want to get on the field. And that's really where it started for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. It was something you said earlier. I just remember one child. I don't want to say no names, but one child in the video, they said, "Man, I'm scared." But then he turned around, and I don't know if you remember somebody saying that. It was up in Chattanooga, saying that he was scared, and then it just like his whole, I think you coached him up or whatever. I forgot what you said to him or whatever, but just what you said earlier is just it's a coach's job to kind of coach you up and to really make that child feel comfortable, right, in their position.
Absolutely. Well, it's twofold. They got to feel comfortable for this position, but they also have to believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer the kids that are scared, because when it switches for them, when they really start believing them, that's when they get dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
See the I don't want to say the worst kid you can have is one that knows he's good,
mm-hmm.
because that's the one that's going to put himself in a situation to get hurt faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A kid that is afraid, that you can actually see yourself building the blocks, laying the foundations, instilling the confidence in them, instilling the understanding. When they get it,
mm-hmm.
the switch turn. Like even and even for we'll talk about your son Evan. Evan.
I don't want to make this about Evan.
We don't have to.
All right.
But he came a long way, and the only reason I say it is because he's one that didn't believe in himself initially, and now he's one of the better kids.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the top left tackle in our league. And you know, we talked not too long ago about defensive reps. You know, as you see, the progression is coming up because now there's confidence that he can compete. You know, that's the blueprint to all kids. I prefer the kid that's scared because they're gonna ask the right questions and they're gonna do what they got to do to not make mistakes. And through repetition, they're gonna continue to do that till it becomes muscle memory.
Let me play another clip so you can grab another bite. Hold on one second. Let's see.
Hey, raise up number 10. We still number 1. They raise up number 10. We still number 1. That stay down. You understand me? Yes, sir. You ain't coming through fucking Georgia. You ain't playing football. You understand me? Yes, sir. Get yourself out of block. Hey, you can't fake football, right? Yes, sir. Hey, you can't fake coaching, right? Yes, sir. Hey, you can't fake working out, can't you? Yes, sir. Hey, you can't fake speed, can't you? Yes, sir. Hey, what I tell you, son, one to do something on the field. Yes, sir. So, like I said, we came in the number 10 seed in nationals. We had just knocked off Mob City League out of Birmingham, and they put us against the number 1 team out of Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville Prime. All week we've been hearing about number 1 running back in the state of Kentucky, number 1 kid in the tournament, the whole nine, and how they was gonna 50 ball us the whole nine. One thing you can never do is gauge somebody's heart. And that moment was a testament because we came into that game. Case in point, we walked on that field quiet. You know, we not a big junk talking team the whole nine. We walked into that stadium quiet, focused. We lined up, they did their whole rah the whole nine. First series we went down the field and drove. We got on defense. I mean, this is probably the most physical I've ever seen the team play. Not only did we match their physicality, but we showed which team had the number 1 running back in the tournament. We ran up and down the field on there. Our quarterback threw the ball over the field, and we really matched their aggression. We coached better than I've ever seen us coach, and our kids stepped up to answer the call. And that moment was for me and for the team was to say, hey, this is what happens when you believe in yourself. Nobody believed in Douglasville except the 48 parents that came down to Florida with us. That was the only support system we had, and that's all we needed because those boys went out there. We went down there with 24 kids, and those 24 kids laid it all on the line for 4 quarters, and we came out victorious.
Speaking of coaches, you want to name those off?
Who we got? We got offensive coordinator to the left, Coach Rowe, O-line, D-line coach, Coach Greg, run game coordinator, Coach Steve. He had to step down this year due to health. We got our pass game coordinator, Coach Mapp, and then our linebacker coach, Coach Carl.
Okay, all right. You know, I always try to encourage you all through text or, you know, send you all encouraging text messages. And, you know, one of the things that I shared with you on last week was I'm so impressed with the coaching. It's just like, I know y'all have, you know, you all go back and forth, but it's like you all are really set apart. And I ain't trying to blow stuff up, you know. When I talk, I talk straight from the heart, but I appreciate what you all go through. You know, yeah, you all gonna have disagreements. You all gonna have coaching disagreements, who to put in, who not to put in. But for the most part, your staff is by far the best staff that I've seen.
I appreciate that. I can tell you, you know, usually when you look at a coaching staff, and it's usually full of daddies and so forth, it's hard to get everybody on the same page. I can tell you, you know, one thing that's really continued to bring me back to this program is that we got a coaching staff full of guys that genuinely love the kids. And we all got kids on the team, genuinely love the kids and genuinely are okay with other men coaching our kids and being father figures to our kids, being disciplinary figures to our kids, being accountability partners to our kids. When you're able to have that, it makes everything else flow. And because we have that bond, it's easier for us to go back and forth and bicker and have the disagreements with the understanding that as men, we always know that we're going to eventually resolve whatever the conflict is and refocus for the greater good of the kids. So, you know, I take my hats off to the kids, you know, especially when I stepped into the head coaching role. You know, my focus had to change somewhat, and everybody on the staff stepped up. You know, so it's really a good group of guys that genuinely care about the well-being of these kids, and every coach has a different love level on how they approach it and how they approach the kids. But they also, every coach has their different levels of relationship with the kids, and these kids really flock to these guys. That's why they respond to the coaches the way they do.
What makes you happy?
Outside of my family, keeping these kids out the streets. And I mean, and that's really all it is for me. You know, I know my mama watching, but you know, I had coaches that tried for me. Wasn't always successful, you know, and I made mistakes. So to kind of it's easy for like a kid's daddy to be like, hey, don't do what I did. It's different when a coach say, hey, I'm gonna be as vulnerable with you as you are with me. Hey, don't do this because of this. And to really see, I mean, I had a couple of kids that I coached years ago come back and say, hey, coach, can I coach with y'all next year? You know, I want to be around that because I'm about to have kids and so forth. It's really keeping these kids out the streets. It's different these days. Kids ain't lasting as long as they used to. You know, we got the running joke, you know, and I forget the show that was on what they say folks don't squabble no more. You know, so we're losing more of our youth faster. So any day we can keep a kid out of the system, keep a kid out of negative situations, the better. You know, and I can tell you, each and every one of these coaches, especially our kids who we have concerns with, that are in situations like that, these coaches are on them. They're following up with them. They're calling the schools. They're picking these kids up. These kids spending the night at our houses. Like, that's the stuff that makes me happy outside of my family and work. Seeing like, hey, you have an outlet. There's somebody in your corner, whether you believe it or not.
Because I appreciate it, because a couple times last year I had to tell you need to call Evan's school. Get him right.
Hey, you won't talk back to a teacher no more.
Right. What, for like a first-year coach going into this type of environment, what type of advice would you give them?
Get to know the kid. I tell the same thing to new managers at my company. Get to know the person that you're asking to do work for you. You can't lead nobody without knowing them, and I mean truly knowing them. Understand the kid's flaws, understand what the kid does well, understand the kid's lifestyle. This kid may come out here and just really need to be loved on because he has a rough situation at home. This kid may be misunderstood at school, and this is the only outlet. Get to know the kid. I even tell older coaches that want to get into youth coaching, get to know the kid. Like, it's different in high school. Get to know the kid. Because when you get to know the kid, you understand how to handle that kid, how to handle that kid's parent, and you understand how to get what you need out of your kid. I got a few kids. I know I will make them cry. I'll cuss them out before the game, the whole nine. Then they know we're going to sit down. We're going to pray together before the game. We're going to talk about it, and they're going to go out there and ball out. Get to know the kids. You cannot coach nobody's kid without getting to know them. And then when you get to know the kid, get an understanding of the parent. You should know the parent, but at least have the humility to get an understanding of the parent. Because then you'll really know what football is for the parent. It could be, hey, I need a break. Hey, I'm doing this by myself. I need him to be around men. Hey, he giving me hell at home. I need discipline here. So get to know the kid, but then also get an understanding of the parent.
Play this other clip so you can grab something else to eat.
We locked in at number 3 right now, all right? So that means we're gonna get the 6th seed first, and 9 times out of 10 we'll end up with the number 2 seed on the second week. But it don't matter if we don't go out and do what we gotta do on Saturday, all right? So hey, Friday night, go to bed, wake up early, come to practice, ready to work, all right? Come to the game, ready to work. Hey, bully them out the gate. I want to be up by 30 in the first half. We're gonna get a lot of reps. Everybody gonna get heavy reps. O-line, you gonna play D-line. O-line, you gonna play D-line. I want to get the ones out there early. I want the ones to be done by the first quarter. You understand me? Then we're gonna start rotating and getting looks at front field. Everybody feel good? Yes, sir. Anybody hurt? No, sir. School going good? Yes, sir. Right on me. Green snaps on me. Green snaps on me. 1, 2, 3. Green snaps.
So that was Monday. No, Tuesday. So we got some big games coming up. How are you preparing the team for the offseason? When it comes to, post regular season going into the playoffs?
We started that process back in March.
Mm-hmm.
We started that process back in March. You saw some of it. We was over at Hunter Park running hills for an hour and a half straight, doing our agility drills on hills, putting heat stresses on the body, dehydrating the body. We started correcting the mental component of the postseason in the preseason. And then we matched up early with top teams that are ranked nationally for the guys to be able to see where they need to be. Teams like Voodoo and teams like Blackman out of Knoxville and so forth. We put the pressure on us early up front, and then we spent the next few weeks sharpening that skill set. For us, every game is a playoff game for us, and that's how we preach it. Every game is a playoff. Mm-hmm. We look to go 1-0 every week. Mm-hmm. That's the only goal. The following week don't matter if we don't clock in and do our job this week. So we continue to build the mental point. Even when we're at practice, we start off practicing getting the kids tired. We practice tired and depleted so that they understand mentally what you need to be prepared for when the game. It's gonna get to a point of time when it gets cold. Your hands gonna hurt. All the bumps and bruises gonna hurt that much more. So we stress that factor now. We don't let them wear a lot of clothes out to practice when it's cold now. We don't do a lot of water breaks now to understand how the temperature change affects the body. We put the kids in situations. Everything is one versus two or 3 versus 1 to understand, all right, no such thing as holding. You got to fight. You have to be mentally prepared for any situation. And because we continue to rep those scenarios day in and day out, we approach every game as the first round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. You talked about earlier today, you talked about discipline out on the field. What role does discipline play in coaching, and how do you approach it?
Sure. It's a couple of things. So as a coach, whether you're the head coach, coordinator, the whole nine, any coach on the staff has to be disciplined. And what that means is you can't be reactionary. Mm-hmm. These are kids. They're going to do things to piss you off. Parents going to say things to piss you off, the whole nine. You have to have the mental toughness and the discipline to understand how to react. So that's one fold. But then when you're teaching it to a kid, yeah, we don't want you to jump offside. Yeah, we don't want you to hold. We don't want you to face mask. It's about being disciplined in the moment, because as they continue and if we can make them disciplined out there on the field, then they understand what discipline looks like. Mm-hmm. In the classroom. If we don't sit there and let you sit there and hit, play, kick, scratch, spit on folk out there on the sideline, then we can almost assure you're not going to do it in the classroom. We don't let you talk back to coaches on the field. We can almost guarantee you're not going to talk back to your parents and your teachers in the classroom. But coaches also have to be disciplined. Mm-hmm. You can't sit there and respond to every parent in the stand that's trying to tell you how to coach. Every game is 92 coaches in the stands. Mm-hmm. Ain't none of them ever thrown a touchdown, ran a touchdown, punted the ball, none of it. Mm-hmm. So you got to be mentally tough to block that out and be and the discipline goes even down to the play calling. Because when you get put in situations, kind of like kids, when you mess up and all right, am I going to whoop them or not? As a coach, when you get in situations, you have to be disciplined, understand, all right, I'm not going to overreact because I just got sacked for 7 yards mm-hmm. and called the wrong play. Or I'm not going to overreact because they just gashed me for 15 yards. Mm-hmm. I'm going to reset my focus and go to my adjustments. So, but it takes maturity and it takes discipline to be able to stay in your game plan. Mm-hmm. Because and we pride ourselves. My defensive philosophy for coaching against other coaches is how fast can I get them out of their game plan. Mm-hmm. And so it's the same thing. Being a coach on the receiving end, you got to be disciplined enough to not get taken out of your game plan. Mm-hmm. And it just correlates. If you're able to stay disciplined, then you're able to keep the kids disciplined.
Mm-hmm. Have I ever said anything to piss you off?
Piss me off? You're a daddy. Every daddy on the team.
I said something to piss you off?
Every daddy on the team.
Wait. I said something to piss you off?
Parents don't piss me off. the worst question you can ask a coach is why my kid not playing.
All right.
Because you're gonna get the same response from me is if you really sit on the sideline and watch practice and really take heed to the effort that is given at practice, then you can answer that question on your own. And my biggest thing, and because I'm big on holding parents accountable, don't ask me why the kid ain't getting reps. Hold the kid accountable for the same thing we're holding them accountable for is listening to what they're being told, listening to the development, doing what you're told to do and asked to do, doing your job, giving it all on the reps. You know, so
I think you're a good
daddy.
you're a good politician.
I hate politics.
Because I asked you, have I ever said anything that piss you off? And
That's this.
baby, I said something to piss Coach.
You see how that discipline works? And the one thing about you can't piss me off because I control my emotions.
I said something to make you mad.
No, that's an emotion.
Did I say anything that I shouldn't have asked as a parent?
Anytime between Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, absolutely. On Sunday, you can ask me whatever you want to ask me. But during business hours, not the time. Not the time.
Okay. All right. Well, I apologize if I made you.
Okay. You ain't okay. One good thing about it, man, the Lord teaches you don't hold grudges.
Right.
Let's move on to the next.
So after the season is over with, what are some specific drills or activities that a child should be getting into?
Push-ups, sit-ups. Push-ups, sit-ups. If your kid is slow and you want them to get faster, take them to a reflexologist. Take them to yoga. Take them to Pilates. Take them to a speed and agility coach. Take your kid to a specialist. I think that's where a lot of parents and even coaches get afraid to allow other people to coach your kid. My kid goes to a strength coach every offseason after he does postseason ball. Take your kid to a specialist that is skillful in what you need from your kid. If your kid needs to be stronger, make the kids do push-ups, 100 push-ups a day. Increase it incrementally. You start off with 5, go up to 10, but increase incrementally. Hold them accountable. Do sit-ups. You know, a lot of people don't know. My wife handles the strength and conditioning for my son. She has a regimen for him. So she stays on top of him. Figure out what your kid needs. If your kid wants to be a tight end, take him to an agility coach, take him to a wide receiver trainer. Buy him hand grips. Get elastic, get resistant bands. Work on his hand strength, his arm strength. Find a jug machine or take him out to a field and throw the ball. If your kid wants to be a All-American offensive lineman, go find a field with a sled. Work it. Do lateral drills and so forth. But anything is better than sitting on the sofa, watching TV, eating junk food. Same thing with school. If your kid can't read that good, you go buy a book or two, give them tools to help them read better. Same thing with postseason stuff. Figure out where your kid is lacking and at least put them in the position to develop that skill. It may not be an overnight success, but at least he'll be 1% better than what he was the previous year. And that should be the goal. Every time you make an investment into your kids, invest to make them 1% better in whatever the ultimate goal is.
One of the things you told me about Evan, you said that he's probably not going to be on the left tackle all of his football career. How do you know when to progress that child into a different position?
Based on their bandwidth. Starting off like Evan came out, he was good at kick stepping. He was a damn good pass blocker. But over the time he's grown in confidence. His understanding of football and techniques and alignments and formations and so forth has increased. So because now he has a greater bandwidth, his toolbox it has more tools in it now. Now he's positioning themselves to get in other roles. I know a lot of kids that played running back in rec ball and now they're centers and guards or linebackers, for other programs. I know plenty of kids that were rock star wide receivers or now quarterbacks or running backs. So one thing we always tell kids, we're going to put kids in every situation, see how they react in those situations. And as their mindset and their skill set progresses, then you start seeing them develop in other factors. My son was a guard for the longest, you know, the whole 7U, but he was also a linebacker then. You know, as he's gotten bigger and so forth, he's come down. He plays defense end. So, you know, some kids are going to size out and scale out of the current roles, which is why you have to continue to put them in situations to where they can continue to get better as an overall athlete. You just can't have big arms and small legs and think you're going to go play D-line, you know, and so forth. So.
Let me see. I think I got one.
What's up, fellas? Hey, I like the energy. The energy feel better today, man. How you feel? I like the energy. The energy feel better today. How you feel? Hey, man, hey, we're going to have to figure out, first of all, I know y'all still babies. How many of y'all going trick-or-treating on Thursday?
My last question, and it's because it's getting late. I want to see what is one of your most memorable moments as a coach.
Outside of nationals last year, it was 7U, and we had 33 kids on that team. We had 33 kids on the team, so I give you a few folds. So it was 7U for Douglasville Tiger Cubs. Nobody thought we would go undefeated. I mean, we literally had kids that would just stand there and fall on the ground every snap. We went to the Super Bowl. It was the last play of the game, and Ken threw a deep ball to Sweet. Last play of the game. We had worked on this play 40 times at practice. Ken would overthrow it. We threw it to Deuce. We threw it to Sweet. They would both drop it the whole 9. And somehow, the football gods was with us. The line, for the first time in the whole game, blocked everybody. Sweet ran the route the right way. Ken threw the ball just at the right time. Sweet made the catch without turning around, scored the touchdown. We won the Super Bowl. That was probably my most memorable moment with DTC outside of the Super Bowl last year. I think that was an epic game. We lost 6-0, but that was an epic game. Between two good programs. I can tell you, high school, Alexander, we went down to Dalton to go play the Red Tide. Nobody thought we would beat them. We came in that game the underdogs. They went up fast on us, 14-0. We got an interception coming out of halftime, scored, came down, tied the game up. They scored again, went up 21-14. We came back, got a turnover, scored. It was 21-21. They had the ball with 4.5 minutes left. They drove down, got a turnover. We got the ball back with 1:42 left on the clock. Got 2 deep passes, got in field goal position. We had missed the field goal the last 3 weeks going into this game. And we were on the 32-yard line. And our soccer player converted the football player, kicked that field goal with 3 seconds left on the clock and made it.
Oh, wow.
We came out of that game beating Dalton. And Dalton was undefeated that year.
Okay. Wow.
They was picked to win the conference win the state that year. We knocked them off. So that was probably my most epic. And then I've had some good times, out of McKeachern and so forth, and with flag program and so forth. But those are probably my memorable moments.
There was a comment. What food to eat right after a game? I want to say what food to eat before the game and what food to eat after the game.
So it's twofold, and obviously you got to understand what your kid can handle. My preference is fruits, citrus fruits, fruits high in potassium, nut butters, peanut butters, almond butters, some things that got a good portion of carbs and sugars that burn appropriately during gameplay. Cereal is terrible if you're within 3 hours of playing. That's not nice. I'm sorry, Siri. I said cereal, not Siri. I'm sorry. But cereal is terrible if you're within 3 hours of gameplay because the milk's gonna sit on your stomach. High foods that are high in grease are terrible before. Because they're kids. Like as you get older, the nutrition changes. Because they're kids, like post game food, hate to say it really don't matter because it's usually a Saturday and we won't see them again the Monday, so they would have cycled through the junk anyway. But you want to kind of replenish. I always tell parents, water up the day before a game, a couple hours before the game, switch it over to sports drink or electrolytes because when you get into the game, water doesn't rehydrate you during the game. You got to replace the electrolytes that you sweat out. So being able to keep that potassium and electrolytes in your system during play, pregame and postgame is good for recovery and pre-play.
Mm-hmm. Say if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, or DTC in general, Douglasville Tiger Cubs, is there a contact number for you, or is there a way to reach out to you to say, hey, I want you to coach my son, or,
Coach P just trying to get his lifetime coaching badge from the state of Georgia. So I ain't got much longer, but I'll tell you, DouglasvilleTigerCubs.com website. You can go on there, click on 10U. My information is on there, affectionately known as Coach P, or you can email me directly at Coach Prichett, FB, at gmail.com. If I don't have an answer for you, I got a lot of relationships where I can find an answer for you. Just know, I'm 100% honest. I ain't for everybody. Everybody ain't for me, but I love these kids to life, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure these kids understand and love the game of football.
How does Tiffany play a role in your sanity?
So that's a good one. My wife's going to keep it a buck.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is she'll be the first one to tell me, like, hey, I don't know what you did on this play, but that was terrible. Or, I don't know why you didn't drop the safety here. And so she really is the defense coordinator.
Uh-huh.
So by the time I get home, who we playing, she'll look at the film, she'll break it down. And it's crazy because she coaches the girls' flag team at Douglas County High, and we run similar defenses. So it is a during the football season, it's intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to bring football home. She tried not to bring up football at home, but we end up there. But because we're both passionate about the game. She was a collegiate All-American in co-ed and girls flag football at the University of West Georgia. I mean, they was whooping everybody, but so it's in her blood. She's always been around the coach. She won the girls league last year championship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we talk football and we talk a high level of football. So she allows me to. She holds me accountable when I don't want to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. Whether it's my behavior on the field, whether I rode a kid too hard, whether I had a discussion with a coach that didn't seem right. She holds me accountable, and I'm thankful for that because I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm not usually too open to that kind of criticism. Right. But obviously, when it's your wife, you tend to shut up first and gotta get it out. So
right.
Because we're both coaches, it's always a candid conversation about it, with the understanding that we're moving in the same direction to find a resolution or opportunity to continue to get done. So.
Yeah, because she badgers me. Can I get the film? Can I get the film? I'm like, yes. So I have to text her the link to the film. I'm like, Jesus.
She breaks it down before I do. So.
For real.
So she breaks it down before I do. I have a whole scheme by Monday. So.
Wow. Well, cool, man. Well, we really appreciate you coming out to be in our studio / room. So to really be a part of this podcast, Chris and Carlette live show. So you got any final words for our audience?
For your sons, they going to college, just make sure they play as Q.
All right, so we'll talk to you all later. Peace out.
Thanks for joining us this week on Chris and Carlette Live. Make sure to visit our website, chrisandcarlette.com. If you're on Facebook, share this broadcast. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our show. You may also find us on Apple Podcast, where you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. Let us stay in contact with you by texting CNC Live to 474747. That's CNC Live to 474747.